Chandamamakathalu. An encounter with Ganga. Last summer, Rita visited Uttaranchal, now Uttarakhand, with her grandparents. They spent a day visiting holy places in the pilgrim center of Devaprayag. In the afternoon, grandfather felt too tired to walk. He said he would rest for some time and made himself comfortable beneath a shaded tree. Grandmother sat down on a stone nearby, took out her rosary and began her chanting. Left to herself, Rita went and sat on the banks of the river Ganges. She was impressed by the swift flow of water. She also noticed that the water was crystal clear. On her visit to Allahabad the previous year, she remembered how unclean the same river seemed flowing through the city. The ripples caught the sun's rays and took on a golden hue. Rita was mesmerized by the beauty of the river when suddenly a beautiful woman rose from the water. She wore a light blue sari and had flowing black hair. Rita rubbed her eyes. Was she dreaming? "Don't you know me?" asked the woman, walking up to the girl. "I am Ganga." Rita stared at her. "You're Ganga, the river," she exclaimed. "That's right, but you haven't told me your name," the woman said in a soft tone as she gently held the girl's hands. "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Rita from Delhi," stammered the girl. "I'm here with my grandparents on a visit. Can you please tell me why you're so important to the people of this country?" "I am important because people consider me the holiest river of India. I'm also the longest, 2,510 kilometers to be precise," stated Ganga. "Wow, that long!" Rita exclaimed. "From where do you start flowing?" "You mean where do I originate from?" "From high up in the Himalayas. A glacier is my source," informed Ganga. "There I am known by a different name. I am called Bhagirathi. The mouth of the glacier is known as Gaumukh because it is shaped like the mouth of a cow. So you begin your journey as a Bhagirathi," murmured Rita, unable to check her curiosity. "But where exactly do you change your name to Ganga?" she asked. "Here at Devaprayag," answered Ganga. "I'm all alone in the beginning. Later, I'm joined by other streams or rivers. They are my tributaries. When I reach Allahabad, the rivers Yamuna and Saraswati join me at a place called Sangam. Much later, at Patna, the river Gandak meets me." Rita was excited. "So you just flow along with your tributaries," she remarked. Ganga nodded. She seemed to have guessed what Rita had in mind. "Perhaps you don't know, Rita, that as I flow downhill and once my tributaries join me, my flow becomes strong and rocks get pushed. Not to speak of stones, soil, twigs, in fact anything that comes on my way. But when I reach flat terrain, my flow slows down and I can't carry heavy objects anymore. Soon I move through the mangrove forests of the Sundarbans and my joy knows no bounds. I split into 100 streams before losing myself in the vast blue expanse of the Bay of Bengal. I deposit whatever I have carried all through my long journey from the hills to the sea, and that's how I form my delta. Did you know that mine is 400 kilometers wide and it is the largest in the world?" "What a fantastic journey!" exclaimed Rita. She then asked, "The sea has a lot of fish, both big and small. Do you also have fishes living in your waters?" "Of course I do," replied Ganga. "I have fish, crabs and shrimps which are caught by the people living on my banks and also by birds and other creatures. My water is used for drinking and for watering the farms on my banks." "That reminds me, the Indo-Gangetic plains through which I flow is the most fertile region in the country." Rita smiled. Suddenly her brows furrowed. "Ganga," she asked, You're doing so much for the people, but I'm afraid they're not taking care of you. Why is the water here so clear and it's so dirty in Allahabad? You would be shocked to hear, Rita. About 1.7 billion liters of chemical effluents are dumped into my waters by factories that have cropped up on my banks. People bathing in my waters get skin diseases. Many of my fish, aquatic creatures and plants die every day. Tons of plastic and other waste are thrown into my waters. They choke me and cut off my oxygen supply. People indiscriminately cut trees growing on my banks and large quantities of soil is washed away. If all these activities continue, I may soon fall ill. That's terrible, cried Rita. How can we help you, Ganga? You're a very thoughtful little girl, Rita, said Ganga. There are a few like you who are trying to save me. Even the government sometimes tries to help. It started the Ganga Action Plan some 20 years ago. A lot of money was also spent to clean up my waters, but much remains to be done. What else can we do to help you, Ganga? Asked Rita anxiously. Well, change your system of waste disposal, advised the river. Stop littering holy places with plastic and garbage. Stop cutting down trees. Punish those who pump chemicals and other harmful substances into my waters. Such irresponsible practices are destroying me. I must remain clean and protected. If not... Rita was taken aback. Was Ganga trying to warn her? If not, what will happen? Tell me, Ganga, please, cried the girl. Haven't you heard of the river Saraswati, which is no more? I too will vanish like her. There won't be a river called the Ganga anymore. My source will dry up, and unless there is copious rain, I may not have any water to flow, said Ganga. No, Ganga, we won't let that happen to you. We, the children of India, will protect the environment and save you from disappearing. We want you to stay, Ganga. Rita sobbed. Ganga patted Rita softly on the head and rose to go. She walked back to the river and her image gradually merged with the waters. Rita stood alone on the banks for a long time, wondering if her meeting with Ganga was only a dream. A beautiful story by Nabanita Deshmukh. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu.